Now Meg McKenna, Director of Partnerships at Visit Milwaukee, will come up to introduce our speakers.
Hi, everyone. It's my pleasure to introduce our speakers on today's topic, which is Connecting MKE, the Downtown Plan 2040. The City of Milwaukee's Department of City Development and Milwaukee Downtown Bid 21 are co-leading a comprehensive planning process with the community to shape the next 2 decades of development, policies, and programs that enable a more walkable, vibrant, diverse, inclusive, and resilient downtown. Our 2 guests today are Beth Weirick, known to a lot of all of us, who is the CEO of Milwaukee Downtown Business Improvement District Number 21. Beth is a native Milwaukeean who is a self-described lover of downtown. Beth has been in the industry and promoting and building downtown Milwaukee for over 2 decades as CEO of Milwaukee Downtown Bid 21. Beth is proud to share that Milwaukee is a city that provides exceptional experiences for our residents, workforce, and guests. And Tanya Fonseca is the long-range planning manager at the City of Milwaukee's Department of City Development. Her team manages the city's comprehensive plan. Her planning and design experience spans the public, nonprofit, and private sectors, including most planning and design consulting throughout Wisconsin, while previously at Grafe. This year, Tanya is proudly celebrating 10 years in Milwaukee. Please welcome Beth Weirick and Tanya Fonseca.
All right. Thanks so much, everybody. Meg, thank you for that introduction. And President Todd, thank you so much. To my fellow Rotarians, I apologize because I'm one of you, and I've been absent, and I have every intention of being better this year at seeing your faces in person, particularly given the opportunities that we have now to be in person. So good to see everyone's faces. So grateful for this opportunity. So I know we have a short window of time here and a lot to cover. So I will be as articulate as possible as we cruise through this slide deck for you. And then, of course, we'll be available to answer questions. And there will be an opportunity for some participation from you, okay? So as Meg indicated, we're very thrilled to be partnering with the Department of City Development on updating the downtown area plan. We were very focused and intentional with our commitment to inclusivity and equity. The City of Milwaukee actually has a statement relative to their commitment to equity, but when we moved forward with the need to update the downtown area plan, which was last updated in 2010, we decided to take a different approach, not only hire a design consultant, but also hire a consultant to work with us on equity and engagement, P3. So throughout our process, every step of the way will be very, very focused on equity and inclusivity and building a downtown for everyone. So what is the plan? Actually, the City of Milwaukee has 14 area plans. According to state statute, every city has to submit comprehensive area plans. The downtown plan is only one of those plans, and as I stated earlier, was most recently updated in 2010. And I'm so pleased that so many of those objectives have already been met. And we're going to touch on those in just a second. But just to give you a perspective of the geography of what we talk about when we talk about downtown. And I always say, if we put a map in front of every single person in the room and said, draw the boundaries of what you consider downtown, I don't think we would have 2 identical maps. I believe downtown is a state of mind, right? So with that, the boundaries for the downtown area plan are Walnut Street and East Lyon to the north, West Clybourne Street and the Menominee River to the south, I-43 to the west, and Lincoln Memorial Drive to the east. So obviously the plan and connecting really seems to be the theme, doesn't it? And I think we're all just yearning for connection. So our plan title is Connecting MKE Downtown Plan for 2050. So why do we need a plan update? Well, we need, again, 2010 was the last plan, and it's really time for us to have some collective and very thoughtful and intentional action through civic engagement to really have a focus on what's happening with housing. You know, we're seeing a lot of churn in our marketplace, and with the new hybrid model of back to office work, what will our downtown look like? So what an opportunity for us, I'm going to say post-pandemic, dare I, to really rethink the way in which our downtown is going to function and serve the community. So we'll focus on housing, the business and economy, the land use, which is critically important as we're designing our downtown for the future. Of course, transportation, how we utilize our streets and our public spaces, and of course, sustainability as we're moving forward. And we really want to encourage everyone to be visionary. It's a new day and it's a new opportunity for us to really rethink what our downtown can be. So as I referenced earlier, the downtown plan, the overall policies and strategies were really based upon 4 themes. And it was, we were a distinct center, creating that sense of place, connected downtown, meaning our various neighborhoods within downtown were connected to one another. East Town, West Town, the Riverwalk District. Now we're even thinking more broadly than that, thinking about the greater downtown area and how we connect to those neighborhoods surrounding downtown. So some great opportunities for us. So a lot of the catalytic projects that were identified in the 2010 plan, we are either completed or they are underway right now. And some of those include the downtown streetcar, a huge focus on Wisconsin Avenue. Many of you have seen the revitalization and the rebirth of Wisconsin Avenue, particularly West Wisconsin Avenue. If you haven't been to the 3rd Street Market Hall, please come over there. Our office is located right next door. I'll be investing in some elastic pants. The Lakefront Gateway, which is really a great opportunity for us to connect our downtown to the beautiful lakefront. Oftentimes, when people are visiting our city and they're on Wisconsin Avenue, they don't even realize until they get to the foot of Wisconsin Avenue that there's this beautiful, beautiful fresh body of water, right? What is it? We are like the largest freshwater resource in the globe from an area perspective. So the Broadway connection, connecting the Central Business District to the historic 3rd Ward, the Passageway connection. We just won a national award for that at the International Downtown Association. The programming and activation at Pere Marquette Park, Station Plaza, where the Amtrak station is, of course, the Kilbourne extension, and then, of course, Haymarket Square, which has really taken on a life of its own. So we're so thrilled because we're not starting from scratch. This is not just, oh, we're just going to start pulling things out of thin air. Many of you may be aware of a great plan, and I believe the plan was presented to Rotary MKE United. And it was a plan, it was really relative to how can our greater downtown neighborhoods prosper from the economic impact that downtown has been benefiting from. So really amazing, amazing outcomes have been identified as part of that plan. And we are utilizing the work that was done in that plan as we launch into the update of our downtown area plan. So what some of those transformative directions are that came out of several years of work from MKE United were creating a just Milwaukee, work, achieving inclusive growth, living, promoting authentic neighborhoods of choice, right? And then, of course, moving, those connections again, moving across all of our neighborhoods and providing mobility for all. And then, of course, engagement, making sure that we're inclusive, that we're adding capacity, and that we're being thoughtful about everybody who is involved in the process of this plan. And then, of course, I think this is where we find many common denominators. Celebration of our food, our art, our culture, our entertainment, and our sports. So what will we do with this plan, knowing that we're building off of a variety of other plans that have already been put into place that I like to think of as living and breathing documents, not something that you develop and then put on a shelf. We're going to continue to focus on the fact that We are walkable. We are vibrant. We're diverse. We're inclusive. And of course, we're resilient. So I will now hand it over to Tanya.
Thanks, Beth. So showing you the timeline here of the process in general, and we kicked it off this last fall of 2021, and we're just beginning the second phase of the process. So far, we have had a community council meeting, and this is a group of 18 Milwaukeeans that we specifically asked to join us to focus on equity in the plan. And every phase begins with engaging with this group so that we can ensure that it really is integrated fully in our planning process. We've had one public meeting so far that was on December 9th, and one reality of the pandemic and technology and engagement is that it's recorded and available online. So it's easy to catch up on the process if you're interested. We also have a brand new online engagement platform at the city, which has really been, I think, revolutionary and making our engagement process more accessible, right? Literally right now from this room or from home, you could be logging in and posting comments on the map of downtown or our idea board, which means we're getting unprecedented feedback and it's all completely transparent, which I just think is really exciting for the planning process. It's a good time to be a planner. However, it's a little overwhelming now filtering that number of comments, but it's a really exciting thing and we're so grateful for our partnership with the Business Improvement District as we move forward with that. So we do have 3 more public meetings. We don't have those scheduled yet, but the next one will be this spring. And so you'll be hearing from us. We are planning to wrap up the process this year. It'll probably go before council for adoption early next, but I think hopefully if all goes well, we'll have all 4 public meetings done by the end of the year. So how to engage? Well, obviously we're here, so there's the opportunity to engage today with us now, but also those 3 future public meetings. We encourage you to sign up for email updates if you're interested. All you need to do is go to connectingmke.com and you can sign up there. Or if you use the city's e-notify system, that is a way that you can sign up for downtown plan specific updates as well. Also our virtual engagement platform, which can be accessed from connectingmke.com or a longer URL that I won't read right now, but we'll showcase later on in the program. And then community programming. We are hoping to be out in the community, especially weather permitting in spring and summer to help get the word out and get engagement as well. We realize the expectations of folks coming to meetings is, although fantastic engagement, we need to do more. And so these other ways of engaging are here to stay. So this is a little quick sneak peek of our online platform, which I promise works great on a mobile phone too. So even when you're walking around downtown, preferably not today because the conditions are not safe, you can be putting a comment. And what's really spectacular is that any comment you can click on and you can also go from there straight to Google Earth and be in that space online. So if it's an area of the city you're not very familiar with and you're interested in learning more about that comment, you can suddenly be there and kind of envision it, which I think is really exciting. So this is our engagement dashboard. I think it's a few days late or old now because we're constantly getting feedback, but we already have over 800 comments in our online platform. In our tracking of individuals who've participated, we are close to 500 right now and counting. And I think just in that initial phase where we're getting the word out, that's, I think, really exciting. Some of the feedback we received in phase 1, in terms of when imagining a connected MKE, what do you envision? And folks are saying they envision more public transit and better amenities for the existing transit that we have. Walkability is a huge priority, not only in the areas that are those entertainment districts that you frequently visit, but some of those connections between those districts. Diversity of all types, people, culture, public spaces, events, housing, businesses, ownership. I'm sure I'm missing so many others. Inclusivity and safety, neighborhood connection. So although because we have to meet state statute and we need to plan every inch of 96 square miles of Milwaukee, We also want to be thoughtful about those connections to all of the neighborhoods adjacent to this boundary, right? We can't just stop planning at that boundary. There are only so many neighborhoods that connect, and those connections to downtown are so critical. And what we're finding in our analysis and all of our engagement is that we have a lot of work to do to improve those and strengthen them. Vibrancy is a huge priority in terms of types of activity in downtown: street life, energy, shopping, even lighting, and then authentic and diverse experiences. And that's really critical, and we're hearing that from everyone. When imagining a diverse, equitable, and inclusive downtown, what do you envision? And by far and away, we're getting feedback that we need to have a more welcoming public realm. I think although downtown is wonderful as is, and so many people appreciate it, we're learning that a lot of people don't feel safe or welcome in our downtown, and we have a lot of work to do to build on our strengths of downtown and make it a space that is truly exceptional, right? We want to have one of the best downtowns in the country. We're well on our way, but we do have more work to do. Housing, more of it. There's a lot of interest in all types of housing, including more housing types. So affordable housing, also affordable ownership. The city recently completed with Community Development Alliance a collective housing plan. And one of our major priorities from that is to increase Black and brown homeownership in Milwaukee, because we're behind. And downtown is a really great place to live, and there's a lot of growth opportunities. And what better time to plan for housing in downtown when we are coming out of a pandemic and we're reevaluating our office market. We have some really stellar examples of office to housing conversions in downtown, and so we are certainly looking to see the feasibility of that. And finally, more businesses. People want to see more food and shopping options and more economic opportunity for people of color, including BIPOC-owned businesses, and better wages in general for our service employees, which I think really got stressed right during the pandemic, that some of these folks that were out are folks that don't necessarily have healthcare benefits and yet are risking themselves. So I think a lot to talk about, as you can see. So I think what better timing than be able to plan during this public health crisis. So just wrapping up, we are going to transition shortly to using a tool called Mentimeter, and that is something that you can engage with directly with your cell phone, or if you're at home, your internet browser. So if you would like to participate that way, certainly pull out your phone. We are going to do traditional Q&A too, I promise. But we will be announcing the public meeting relatively soon. We hope the next one. So stay tuned on that, and you'll sign up for our newsletter or see us on social media with that announcement. So with that, just kind of want to highlight again, connectingmke.com for more information. Our social engagement platform, you can reach through that website or go directly to it. It's engagemke.com/connectingmke. So with that, if you want to pull out your phone device, or if you're at home or work, your internet browser works too, and go to menti.com and enter the code 62375685. Again, that's menti.com, and the code is 62375685. Now, for those of you who have not used this, this is another exciting tool to use, as you see in person or online, where we can all provide feedback simultaneously and see each other's feedback, which I think is really exciting. And we will open for Q&A as well. So the first question is, please introduce yourself and include your organization that you represent if you'd like. All right, great. I know there are more of you here than those 5. Okay, great. Hi, Keith. Hi, Teresa. Hi, John. This is great. Thank you. And this just helps us remember too who was here when when Beth and I are going through our photo album memories of the downtown plan process. So our next question is, please share one word or a short phrase to describe your current experience of downtown Milwaukee. Ooh, it's icy. Yes, that's accurate today, but come on. Renaissance. It is going through a renaissance, isn't it? It's exciting. Diminished by COVID. Accessible, welcoming, unsafe, beautiful. I'm seeing a lot of diverse of opinion too, because, well, fun's getting bigger. This is one of those word clouds, so I'm not saying people need to enter the same thing, but I'm just impressed with the diverse array of things. Walkable, engaging, positive, friendly, potential. All right, I'm gonna give it 10 more seconds, and then we'll switch to the next. Lakefront. Boy, I need to update my prescription, don't I? Exciting. I think I'm okay. But yes. What one thing would enhance your experience of downtown? Consider a change or a specific action. And I don't recall if you're allowed to enter more than one on this one. So, transportation. Better parking. Parking is a controversial topic we're finding for the downtown plan. So stay tuned. Protected bike lanes. We're getting a lot of transportation feedback throughout the process too. So clearly there's a lot of opportunity there. More river access, more people, greater public safety, more people again, construction, expanded hop routes, more security presence, reduce crime. All right. I'm gonna give this one more minute. Continued art installments, transit, family friendly. That's certainly coming up a lot too. Is it being friendly for all, including families? Parking, restaurants on sidewalks, very popular. Also something that's growing due to the pandemic. Increased density, more trees, outdoor dining. I think I saw one that said greater connections to the lakefront. Expand the streetcar into the neighborhoods and deliberate nightlife scene. Great, we've got 10 seconds, I think. Oh, my phone's faster than the screen. More street level activity. That is definitely something we're hearing more and more about in terms of activation of the built realm, but also the public realm. Better streets. More winter activities. This is something that we've been talking about quite a bit. And as we're wrapping up our comprehensive outdoor rec plan for the city right now, I'm realizing that we need probably a winter outdoor rec plan. So something for 5 years from now when we do the next one. When imagining a diverse, equitable, and inclusive downtown Milwaukee, what do you envision? Better, more interactive parks for kids. And that's something I just want to speak to as well for this process, is how critical, we are thinking about our engagement process, including, who do we typically not reach in our process and who needs to be engaged. And certainly youth is one, we are really trying to think very broadly and very intentionally about our engagement with organizations and families as we move forward. Beautify streets, jobs for all people, a cultural melting pot, kids and teenager destinations and programming, life at the lakefront, lots of art, more restaurants and retail shops. This is great. So I'm going to give us 10 more seconds. Affordable housing, variety of cultural activities, more spaces where all feel welcome, workplaces and entertainment venues that are welcoming to all residents and visitors, fewer panhandlers, a wide range of eating establishments. Okay, that's really helpful. What streets or public spaces have you found most memorable when visiting other downtowns? So it'd be very helpful if you want to speak to a specific area or street or district and include the place, because then it gives us homework to do later. So we want to keep up. Okay, Millennium Park, waterfront areas, Frenchman Street in New Orleans. That's a great one. Beer Garden. Parks and shopping opportunities, River Walk in downtown Chicago. Okay. Minneapolis type expanded art walking district, Bryant Park, Pioneer Square, the Greenway Bike Network in Minneapolis, Cathedral Square. I'm assuming maybe that one's ours, but I know there are others. Central West End of St. Louis, Broad Street in Philly, pedestrian malls in general, like the one in Boulder, the alleys with restaurants in Seattle outside of the market. Oh yeah, that's fun. I like the pink door. All right, I'm gonna give us 10 more seconds. We just have a couple more questions and then we can move into Q&A. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. Fantastic. Our next question is, what top 2 or 3 amenities or programs should be implemented in downtown to make it more attractive to residents, businesses, employees, and visitors? Yeah, we gave you a lot to think about, didn't we? Safe bike parking, wonderful lakefront and riverfront. Everyone is refreshed, inspired by beautiful scenery. Affordable and mixed housing. 24-hour life cycles. Places with an identity. Protected bike lanes, more and better retail shops, a dog park, which we've got coming. Security and green space are easy on and off public transportation. Okay, family-focused public spaces and streetcar connections. Let's see here. Lakefront access, that's a critical one. Novel and new attractions and activities. Better parking. Yes, yeah, and that comment, perhaps maybe some wayfinding and improved signage would be helpful. Places with an identity, use Milwaukee Police Department mounted patrol more visibly. Better wayfinding signage, yep. Okay, this has really been helpful. Our next question is, what is your top priority for downtown Milwaukee over the next 10 to 20 years? I know it's hard, isn't it? There's just so many important, exciting things. More people and living and working in the area. Safety and the ambassador program has been great. Growth and activity. How to remain safe or safe, active space, new construction. Address poverty head on. End segregated Milwaukee lived experience. Mecca for young professionals. All inclusive. Inclusion and safety. A beautiful MacArthur Square. Everyone must feel safe and welcome. More downtown residents, safety and extending the vibrancy. Of course, it's all right. I'm gonna give this one 30 more seconds, so if you haven't had a chance to answer it, please do. Make it more visually appealing. Build connections to Marquette University and Avenues West. Sustainable redevelopment. How to remain safe, driving pedestrian and commercial activity. Safe, active space. And I'm sorry if I'm missing any. But this has been really, really helpful. So I think that was our last question. So with that, we can move on to Q&A. Thank you so much for participating and letting us mind your minds for a little bit. This has been great, and we will put all of this feedback we received today to work in the plan.
We have a new format for asking questions, so if you do have a question, please come up to the microphone, and then you can ask away up here. Thank you, guys.
We're going to make you add steps, Jeff. Right.
Does your planning include lakefront?
Our eastern boundary is Lincoln Memorial Drive, but we are, as you saw in this response, it's not, it goes beyond the actual physical boundaries. We're seeing a lot of remarks relative to connectivity. So I don't think we would get engaged in this land use planning of planning for the lakefront grounds, but what we would probably see are ideas and concepts to strengthen those connections. Does that answer your question?
Within the northeast side plan, also the third ward plan, and then the southeast side plan, so other planning areas. We are in midst of the Bayview neighborhood plan right now, and our next public meeting is Wednesday night on Zoom. So there is that opportunity on the lakefront, but in terms of the lakefront over here, it would be the northeast side plan, which will need to be updated in coming years, sometime probably in the next 5.
Good morning, or good afternoon. Can you comment at all on the rebirth of North Avenue from 76th Street to, say, 55th? And just if you're aware of that area, maybe some things that you've seen or taken from that experience that may apply. Living in the community, it's really, really made a huge difference to us in the suburbs, really feeling like we're enjoying the city. So.
Okay, so you're asking if we can comment on the work and the plan that has been done for North Avenue?
Well, maybe just or how it may apply or to things that you're thinking about doing for Milwaukee.
Okay, I do. At least my own personal reaction of that area is that I think with the streetscape that we've seen occur and the traffic calming of West North Avenue, that alone, I feel has provided a much calmer experience as a pedestrian and a shopper in that area. I feel that with the bump outs and the way in which traffic was calmed down and allowing for bike traffic has just made the environment more user-friendly for people who live in that neighborhood, who just want to walk to North Avenue, either for a dining experience or for people who like to bike and commute. So what I take away from the work that has happened on West North Avenue is that it does make a difference when you think about that public realm space and that you calm traffic and you create spaces for people with baby strollers, as well as runners, as well as bikers and public transportation. That's my takeaway. I don't know.
Well, I would echo those same things and just say it feels intimate, right? I mean, it's very active street life there, which I think is really critical, including some of those pocket park investments that the city made. Certainly, I think the multimodal aspects with the bike lanes has really made it, and it's a space that people clearly like to be in because they, you know, spend time there and just kind of take in the city life in a way that obviously didn't happen before when it was just seen as a major thoroughfare. So it's exciting to see that. And so I think it definitely applies to downtown too, right? And I think as we've done our engagement process, we've realized, you know, as Beth echoed is, you know, everyone in this room has a different idea of what downtown is. And a lot of people in our community consider Third Ward as part of our downtown too. And that area is so immensely popular because people feel that same sort of intimacy and scale and that sort of pedestrian life that's so active. And what we're hearing loud and clear is we want to pull that more and more into our downtown too. So
Good afternoon. MacArthur Square is a big deserted riddle that we haven't been able to solve for decades. Is there a plan? And if not, is it a priority?
well, it's certainly for sure, and that's something that, you know, there's been a lot of time, as you mentioned, spent on it. I think given that the public museum is moving, that is just gives it a major opportunity for that Rubik's Cube to kind of be reconsidered in a new way. You know, also in terms of the state office there, and you know, it's not as short term. Their move is as what was anticipated a little bit for a little while there, but that certainly is susceptible to change potentially as well too, right? So there's a little more flexibility and give in all of that infrastructure there. And so certainly the public museum is low-hanging fruit. That's a site that needs to be planned for and will be. And certainly there's going to be other considerations that spin off from that, yeah.
Is there any consideration of just taking out the public museum building so that it's not such a enclosed space and could flow in a different direction?
Our understanding is that that site is likely to be fully redeveloped.
Meaning that building will be gone?
Very likely, yes. I think it would be challenging to save it, but I mean, I'm not speaking from a point of like expert knowledge. That's just sort of like casually the assumption about it. But I think I'm assuming the county and others have, you know, looked a lot more closely into it. So don't quote me on any of this.
Yeah, and I would agree. I mean, MacArthur Square has long been this vast green space where we've never had successful programming that really attracts engagement because you don't see it from the street. You don't have a lot of footfall unless you're one of the daytime individuals who are working there. And we have been working with our homeless population, as you probably have seen over the years. It's been a very convenient space for encampments, which we've gotten a hold of and been able to place our homeless citizens. But I remember just a quick story when I was working for the Westtown Association and we wanted to move the farmers market that used to be on 4th and Wisconsin Avenue over to MacArthur Square to do some programming there. And I think I still have it in my file. Sorry, John Norquist. I sent him a letter before, emails, that's how long I've been around, suggesting this. And what he did is he dropped my letter back in the mail to me with a marker that said, "Over my dead body." And I think it was indicative of just like, don't you dare move that farmer's market there, because on Wisconsin Avenue, it has all this foot traffic and activation. And there's this this paradigm that nobody goes up there. So we absolutely, I hope in this round we see ways in which we can strengthen that connection. And I do see the new location of the Milwaukee Public Museum providing us with an opportunity to rethink the way in which that entire campus area is utilized. That's a great question, though.
Yeah, thank you. Your remarks made no mention of the enlargement of the convention center. What's the relationship of that activity to what you're doing?
Yeah, well, the convention center was actually one of the areas that was identified as a catalytic project, that we called it at that point in time, in the 2010 plan. And to us, that is critically important. as we are looking at designing streets and public realm spaces in our downtown, that area surrounding the convention center, and the way in which traffic flows, pedestrian traffic and vehicular, public transportation, bike traffic all around that area will be really critical for us. And then, of course, land use planning. What are we using those surrounding uses for? The prior area of the Bradley Center. So those are all discussions that will be taking place.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Hi there. So a quick question about the priorities. We answer these questions today for a population that might not be here 10, 20 years from now. And just trying to figure out how you reconcile that, how that plays into the way that you look at these answers and you do the planning. And then specifically, how do you balance what's being said with what's realistic? And I specifically think about transportation. I mean, everybody says I want more transportation. I am very passionate about that, as I know all of you are. But is it realistic, and how do you balance that with the economics?
Mm-hmm. I think to the first point, Tracy, thank you so much. You always have great questions and great thoughts. To the first point about, planning, this plan is a 2040 plan, right? So it's 20 years away. So my granddaughter, Devin Elizabeth, who was born last night, by the way, do I get fined for that? Really, to your point, how do we build a downtown for our kids, for our grandkids, right? And then how do we build a downtown for people who have responded and said they don't feel safe here or they don't belong here? So part of what we're really trying to do is engage youth, engage people who are innovative and bold thinkers, and also as it relates to inclusivity and equity, the engagement of P3 as a firm to really, really be intentional about going out into the community and inviting people to not only be at the table, but to have a voice at the table. And then I think setting realistic standards is, I think our objective is to be bold and to be, when Mayor Johnson at his remarks on when he won the primary, he said, we will be the greatest city in America. Milwaukee will be the greatest city in America. And I would stand behind that. And I think we have to be bold and we have to be innovative, and let's just continue to shoot for the stars.
Yeah, I echo that. I mean, we do need to be realistic, but unless we're ambitious, we're going to keep having sessions like this where we are yearning for more. And just want to highlight a few other big projects, some ideas that people thought were wild. In Milwaukee, we've torn down highways, interstates, so that we could have more space in our downtown. And look at Bucks and Six in our Deer District. That wouldn't be possible if we had said, that's a crazy idea to take this freeway down. We can't ever do that. And those were forward thinkers who, did engagement and decided to make a plan for it. And it did take time, right? I mean, we're all just seeing that all fill in even as we're speaking today. But that was bold thinking. And I think we are a great city, and we need a little more bold thinking, though, to keep pushing ourselves. So this is our time. We want to make the most of this planning process. So definitely get online, please, and give us more comments.